Okay, so we've looked at how we could play with the framing, even if we did the exact same shot. But how much better would this narrative be if they weren't all exactly the same shot? If some of them focused in more and zoomed in more and played with lighting more and just were more interesting photographs in their own right, as well as being a good narrative over the sequence of frames. Now I'm going to draw out an example that I can shoot for you in class today. And we would call this assignment 7 sketch. I'll call it my demo. And I'm going to use my desk, the desk that I'm doing this demo on right now. So, to sketch it out, just loosely, very often, I'll sketch and then I'll rearrange the sketches kind of in different orders to get a better story. But the most standard way to tell a story is to first establish the scene. And that's kind of that wide shot, that opening that opens every movie of like Manhattan. So what is the scene? It kind of shows the geography of everything. Well, I'll show my desk and my computer, my keyboard, and my little bookshelf, tons with lots of stuff on it, and my chair, and the carpet, and the whiteboard, and everything's going to be in focus. So how do I indicate that it's in focus? I use crosshatches, right? I want you to use this kind of focus notation in your sketches. But even just in the way I drew this, I realize I could show everything in focus and establish that scene kind of in a really boring way. But you know what? If I'm looking over all of these objects that are behind my desk, which in a lot of ways are the most interesting objects, how about I shoot past those to make this shot better? And that's why we call them sketches. And that's why I don't want you doing them in ink, I want you doing them in pencil. Because I want you to play with them and alter them. So now I'm going to make this shelf, I'm going to outline it heavily. And I'm just using different colors so you can see it clearly. Maybe I should use red. It might show up better. And so I am showing the foreground out of focus, right? Because a blank opening is foreground out of focus. I think it should be an E in there. And then everything here is in focus. And then in as much as I'm able to capture the rug and the whiteboard, all of that's going to be in focus too. So how many layers of depth is that? 2. Okay, my next frame. I'm going to zoom in now. And maybe I'll swing around. So I'm shooting from this angle. Now I'm going to swing around and shoot from this angle. I'm going to keep it landscape format, but maybe when I process it, I'll find better cropping. And here's the shelf of toys and stuff, and books. Shouldn't call them toys. Learning materials. A water bottle. Here's my chair. And in the foreground, you see my glasses on the table. Now I'm going to make this all out of focus, and my chair and my table and my glasses and maybe my keyboard on my desk in focus. So I indicate in focus by kind of hatched shadows. The lighting in this room is not ideal. It's all these fill fluorescents everywhere. But maybe I can play with flash a little bit and augment the flash and get slightly better lighting. Now, how do I indicate background out of focus? not only do I kind of outline it vaguely, but I basically fill it in with black. Right? So all of this stuff out of focus. And that's background out of focus. How many layers of depth is that? Yep. Be confident, you guys know it. 2. So in focus here, out of focus here. And it's kind of nice to have that variety, right? Here the foreground is out of focus, the background's in focus. Here the foreground's in focus, the background's out of focus. But again, that's just 2 layers of depth. My third frame, this is where the love story comes in. Not only do I swing the camera around, now I'm going to zoom in and kind of get in here. And I'm going to show my glasses kind of out of focus. So I got to make them really big. I'll have to use macro settings for this. Okay, so how do I show them out of focus in my sketch? By outlining them and leaving them white on the inside. So it's like a blank silhouette. Your sketches do not need to be good in terms of well drawn, but they need to try out your ideas in a way that you understand. So those are my glasses. Out of focus in the foreground. Okay, but in the middle ground, I'm going to have another pair of glasses that we didn't see from this angle. And they're going to be overlapping these a little bit and in sharp focus in the middle ground. I don't know exactly how this will look yet. I'll play with it. But those are in focus, so I indicate that with cross-hatching. And of course, my glasses need to overlap them so that we have a clear distinction between foreground and middle ground. I'd much prefer doing this in a sketchbook. I can do it a lot quicker. Especially with all these color changes. Okay. And what is that? And then what's going to be the background? Then I'm going to see kind of the keyboard and the computer in the background. And from these other shots that have already been established, I'll kind of know what's going on with that. So I'll know it's a desk. And then underneath them is a grade book. And it's going to talk about teacher and student. The illicit affair. These new glasses. No, I don't know. But I could have little love notes in the grade book. Around one name, there's little hearts and kisses. I don't know. Something. Grounds for a lawsuit. Okay. Now, that's going to blend focus, right? Because underneath, that grade book underneath will be sharp and in focus underneath that middle ground pair of glasses. Like down here. And it will be vague and out of focus with the with my pair of glasses in the foreground. So this whole area will kind of be out of focus, foreground. This whole area will be in focus, middle ground. And then the computer and the keyboard and stuff, that's going to be out of focus, background. How many layers of depth is that? So if I have my foreground glasses out of focus, yeah, my middle ground in focus, and then my background out of focus, it's 3 distinct levels of depth. And that's what we're going for with at least one of our exposures. 3 distinct, so they're easy to distinguish, which can be tough. Much easier with a SLR, layers of depth. So I've made the sketches, I have my plans. Now I need to set up these shots and get several shots. And really kind of testing my camera and playing with macro mode and playing with zoom and figuring out how to fit everything in with these focus pools. I like to use portrait mode a lot because that prioritizes for a very open aperture, a low f-stop, and it will, depending on the light that's available, it will open it up quite nicely. So I'm going to try to get these shots, and then I'll come back and put them in.